The CBS 3:30 Eastern game of the week is Iowa at Ohio State. Is this on everyone's radar? Should it be on your radar? In this post-Kentucky Ole Miss world of ours, I would say yes. Very similar sort of point spread number on the game. Very similar profile in that you think a team's coming in that can play fairly decent, hard-nosed football, but is limited in their ability to score, and they're facing a high-octane offense. That's what people said last week about Kentucky Ole Miss. Is that a prediction for an upset here? Absolutely not. I'm just trying to get you to tune in. How much of America has watched this team? Ohio State. How many of you have watched Ohio State? I think outside of Ohio State fans and like hardcore Big Ten fans, most of America's impression of Ohio State so far is you've seen some Jeremiah Smith highlights because he's a freak of nature, and then you've known what you've expected from Ohio State, and you've just kind of checked the box every week. You didn't watch the Akron game. You didn't watch Western Michigan. You didn't watch Marshall. Most of you probably didn't watch them at Michigan State last week. You just know, I think Ohio State's really good. So far, the box scores look like they're really good. They've got an incredible freshman receiver. Okay. And that's fine. It's fine for you to feel that way. This may be the first game you watch them this year. Under no circumstances can Iowa allow this game to be put on the shoulders of Cade McNamara. He is not good enough at quarterback. I don't want to spoil this game for you. I'm sure our folks will do a great job broadcasting it, but one of the spoiler alerts here is they have got to make it a quicksand special. A lot of times in these big point spread games, what we do in the breakdown is we say, if the game's really close, if an upset could happen, how would it happen? Well, they'd have to turn it into what Meemaw would call a quicksand special. That's very, very descriptive, just a way to limit possessions, same way Kentucky did against Ole Miss last week. And the thing about those games is you realize when you're getting into them. Just like you realize, whomst amongst us hasn't found ourselves sinking in quicksand, literally or figuratively in life, and known, I don't think I'm in a good place, but I can't manage to get out. It's like watching that horse in Never-Ending Story. It's a tough, tough thing to watch. Just like it's a tough, tough thing to see your offense bogged down, but it can happen. Iowa can do it. So Cade McNamara, the whole point here is, if Iowa is trying to win this thing, throwing the football, Cade McNamara versus 3 FBS teams this year, averaging just over 112 yards passing per game, 4.7 yards per attempt passing. He's still not thrown for a touchdown. He's thrown for 2 picks. It's bad. You and I know it's bad. They know it's bad. He knows it's bad. Everyone knows it's bad. So Caleb Johnson is the hope. That's the hope here. He's averaging 8.4 yards per rush. He will not average that against Ohio State, but even if he averages like 5 yards per rush, and you're really, really good defensively and can turn them over, special teams is a net win for you, yes, that could give you a shot here. Number one is Caleb Johnson. Then number two has to be let your pass defense win the game for you. So Iowa, defensively, 4th against the run. They're only 69th against the pass. So it may sound counterintuitive if I'm asking a unit that's barely in the top 70s to win it for you. No, it's not counterintuitive. I'm saying that's your only shot. Ohio State's probably going to beat you either way, but your only shot is to shut down the run, make them throw the ball, which they'll probably do effectively, but you got a lot better chance of turning it over if they put it in the air more. Case in point in the B-roll here. Ohio State will have to throw here. That at least creates opportunity for you. Here's the problem with using the whole Kentucky Ole Miss thing last week. Ohio State's better than Ole Miss, first off. And secondly, Kentucky's probably a little better than Iowa. So there's probably a little more gap between these teams than there was those teams last week. Not to mention Ohio State's been built a little bit differently than Ole Miss has been built. It is a signal game for the Ohio State offensive line, though. This is the kind of game where even if the home team wins, they could win in a manner that's a little uglier than folks expected, and there could be things exposed about the team in a win. That happens all the time. So if that happens with Ohio State, it would probably be offensive line that has that happen to it, if it happens. Colin, let's take a look at what the model thinks. Right now, FanDuel's sitting at 19.5. Ohio State minus 19.5. The model is dead on the money. With FanDuel, we've got Ohio State minus 19. I believe that there is a very, very competitive game here. Well, let me say a hard-fought game. I don't think there's going to be a long stretch in the second half where you're scared Ohio State's going to lose, even if the game could be a 1 or 2 score game. I believe there will be a late tack on here and Ohio State will actually find a way to win this game and cover. But understand, 26-6 gets you a cover here. So that's a kind of game that's not very aesthetically pleasing. In fact, I don't know what world this game would ever be aesthetically pleasing in. Give me an Ohio State win and an Ohio State cover. I've got no money riding on this one either. I've got very low confidence on that one. I think the number's pretty much right.